It's time now for some real education. Really pleased that we're dedicating this week at the instant classic portion of the Dr. Duke Show to the late, great Walter E. Williams, the African-American, outspoken, conservative, college professor, everything you wouldn't expect a very smart African-American man to be. He challenged all of those norms, all of those places where conservative African-Americans, conservatives in general, weren't welcome. He went where he wanted to go, said what he wanted to say, and I want to share with you today on the Walter E. Williams segment of the Dr. Duke Show some of his great quotes. So let's take I've introduced him to you before. He was born in 1936, passed away in 2020, had a good long life. He was the John M. Olin Distinguished Professor of Economics at George Mason University, a long-read, syndicated columnist and author, known for his classical views, and a great guest host on the Rush Limbaugh Show back in the heyday. So take a look at some of these great quotes from Walter E. Williams. He says, quote, "I believe our nation is at a point," and this is very, very prescient. "I believe our nation is at a point where there are enough irreconcilable differences between those Americans who want to control other Americans and those Americans who want to be left alone, that separation, perhaps, is the only peaceable alternative. Just as in marriage, where vows are broken, our rights guaranteed by the U.S. Constitution have been grossly violated by a government instituted to protect those rights. These constitutional violations have increased independent of whether it has been a Democrat or a Republican in control of Washington." That's a great point. I mean, at what point is peaceful separation? Let those who would be left alone to govern themselves in liberty and opportunity separate from those who see government as a tool of control and the wearing down of those who like liberty and freedom. And how about this quote? "There are people in need of help. Charity is one of the nobler human motivations. The act of reaching into one's own pockets to help a fellow man in need is praiseworthy and laudable. Reaching into someone else's pocket to do the same thing is despicable and worthy of condemnation." Let's stop with the idea that social justice, money stealing from transfers of wealth, that's anything like Christian charity. Far too many people in our culture are pretending that if Jesus were alive today, he'd be a Ted Kennedy, spend other people's money kind of guy. It just doesn't work that way. Walter Williams is exactly right about that. So those two quotes give us a lot to think about. One is, have we reached the point where those who want freedom and those who don't simply need to part ways? And number two, let's stop creating charity, conflating charity, which is personal individual choice to be generous, from what the IRS does every April with a gun to people's heads.